Have you ever been locked outside your house? In this situation, you probably had to have someone come help you. What if I told you you could unlock your house on your own without the key? Lockpicking is a sort of art that is hundreds, if not thousands of years old. There are two parts to learning how to lockpick. There's the design and function of a lock, and there's the techniques of lockpicking. It's a beneficial skill to learn that anyone can pick up with some practice. Now, the design of the lock is very particular. There's a keyhole, and in each lock there's a set number of pins. The pins are inside here, and there are two in each pinhole. There's one goes on the inside of the cylinder and one on the outside. So that way, when the key goes into the lock, it pushes that pin up to a very specific height, and then that way the cylinder can turn because there's nothing blocking there's no pins blocking it. And to do this, each one has a spring at the top. So knowing this, we can actually get into lockpicking. There's a production flaw where you can't perfectly drill all of the holes in a straight line. So that means if you try and turn the cylinder, even when the pins are down, one pin will always have more pressure on it than the rest. Knowing this, we can get our tools. These are just screwdrivers I got from Menards, but they're just really thin so they can get inside the lock. This one I'm going to use as a tension wrench. It's a bit thicker. And the other one I'm going to use as a pick. So, first thing you always want to do, you want to know how many pins are in the lock. In my case, I actually took this out of a door handle, and I took 4 of them out to make this whole thing easier. So I could go in here and count them, but there's not much point. So when you're doing this, what you want to do is you want to put your tension wrench in a point where you can apply pressure to it. And this would be easier if it's actually in a door, but I have to do this since it's not. So you want to take your pick, and if you look closely, you should be able to see the top pin there. And I've probably opened this at least 700 times. Not an exaggeration. So I know that this first pin is the pin that has the most tension on it. So I can slowly and carefully push that up. And you want to be careful while doing this, because if you push too little, it won't set in place, and if you push too far, it will overset, and then the cylinder will be locked. And if this happens, you actually have to let go of the tension wrench, and you'll lose all of the progress you made on the lock. After that, I can go and hit the second one, and I know that the second one doesn't need to be pushed up nearly as far, and I have unlocked the lock. I'm going to do that one again quickly, because lots of practice counts. There you go, it's unlocked again. Of course, it gets harder the more pins you have. Most modern locks actually have 6 or 7 pins, and it gets more complex with safe locks. It's a beneficial skill to have. Lockpicking is a beneficial skill to have that can be picked up by anyone who's willing to practice. You can get into the safety of your own home. To be able to pick a lock, you must first understand the design and the function of a lock, the pins, the cylinders, the springs, and then you can learn the technique with the counting pins, the picking the pins, and eventually opening the lock. With some knowledge about lockpicking, or some knowledge about how locks work, and some practice, anyone can get started in lockpicking.